Instructor Sabal was in charge of the largest group of children from across the galaxy. Students attended his classes and learned not just knowledge, but also learned from each other and about different cultures. It wasn't until the enrollment of Julie, the first human girl to attend the school, that Instructor Sabal faced challenges in getting his students to befriend and accept a newcomer. Julie seemed to be an enigma to the other students. Her home planet, Earth, was surrounded by mystery and legend, often referred to as the world of death or uninhabitable. Instructor Sabal felt that this stigma was the reason Julie often ended up eating lunch alone in a dark, secluded corner of the common area every day. He had seen the young Earthling try many times to approach and befriend the other students, but their distrust of the human child was too strong to overcome her efforts. To address this, Instructor Sabal decided to show the entire class how similar they all were, regardless of their planetary origins. Every planet, he explained, could be called a world of death, as every planetary body had its own uninhabitable zones. By putting things in perspective, he hoped the mystery and fear surrounding Julie would diminish, and friendships would soon bloom. Sitting before his class, Instructor Sabal gave them an assignment. 3 weeks from today, I will ask each of you to present a video showcasing your home planet, with special attention to its dangers, both animal and geological, he instructed. Students sharing a home world may work together, but remember, this project will represent 40% of your final grade, so make an effort worthy of its weight. Julie, the only Earthling in the school, took her task seriously. She worked diligently to highlight the dangers and threats of her home world, just like all the other students. On the day of the presentations, she was the third student scheduled to present. Nervously, yet with great interest, she awaited the reports before hers. What dangers lurked in these other worlds? She was about to find out. The first presentation was about a planet called Verif. The 3 students from the planet described in great detail the deadly and dangerous fauna of their world. They showed a video of a small, furry creature walking on 4 legs with a bushy tail. "Look what happens here," one presenter said excitedly as the video showed the little animal being given a piece of cloth. In a flash, the creature shredded it with razor-sharp claws that had appeared from nowhere. "If that had been your arm," the presenter exclaimed, "this beast would have torn your skin down to the bone." The classroom erupted in applause and murmurs. The presenters, all smiles, returned to their seats proudly. Only Julie seemed unimpressed. Sitting with a confused expression, Julie couldn't help but ask, "But instructor, wasn't that just a cat?" A small laugh rippled through the students. Instructor Sabal raised his hand for silence, but even he had a hint of a smile. "No, Julie, that animal is a fierce beast. It would in no way be appropriate to keep it in a home, not if you value your life." Still appearing puzzled, Julie simply nodded and waited for the next presentation. The second presentation began with students describing a danger they called death from the skies. They elaborated on how their world's scourge could descend from above at any moment, ripping flesh from bones and inciting terror with just its shadow sweeping the ground. With dramatic music in the background, the video focused on a bright, flying creature with a short, curved beak. "The claws are bad enough," one presenter said, "but beware the strength of these creatures." The video showed the feathered animal grabbing a hard-covered seed and cracking it open with a loud crunch, revealing the soft seed inside. "If that had been a finger," the presenter warned, "you'd be thankful not to have these creatures on your world." Julie stared at the screen, unimpressed. She waved a hand at the monitor and said, "But it looks like a parakeet." A stunned silence filled the room, followed by murmurs about jealousy and rudeness. Instructor Sabal began to worry that his plan was backfiring. Julie had always been pleasant, but her behavior today was, at best, borderline inappropriate. "All right, Julie," he said sternly, "please come and give your presentation." Julie appeared nervous and remained in her seat. "Instructor, I think I misunderstood the assignment," she finally said. "I thought we were to show the dangers of our planet, not the dangers of our pets." Instructor Sabal choked. "Pets," he repeated loudly. That feathered merchant of death could never be a pet. Julie seemed crushed and mumbled something under her breath. "What did you just say?" the instructor demanded. A student sitting next to Julie stood up and said, "She said her 4-year-old cousin has a stupid parakeet." Instructor. The instructor glared at Julie. "You will give your presentation now, or I will contact your guardians, and you will receive a 0 for this assignment." Reluctantly, Julie left her desk and walked to the front of the class. All eyes were on her, and not all of them were friendly. Julie knew this was social suicide. Nobody talked to her now, and they surely wouldn't after her presentation. If they thought a parakeet was dangerous, well, they were in for a surprise. Taking a deep breath, she began. "My presentation is about the dangers we face on my home planet, Earth." The video screen displayed the slowly spinning blue marble of a planet. "In the north of my continent, we face animals unafraid of any creature," she said. On the screen appeared a small, stocky beast. The scene shifted to a beautiful, snow-covered landscape, and suddenly, the creature burst from beneath the snow, sending white spray in all directions. The class gasped in alarm. "What is that?" a student asked, pointing at the monitor with a trembling hand. "It's a wolverine," Julie replied sadly. "A nasty animal willing to attack predators much larger than itself." She showed a clip of a wolverine growling and advancing on a grizzly bear. "What the hell is that?" a student shouted, pointing at the massive, muscular creature on the screen. "The bear? Those things are all over my home planet," Julie said, pausing the video. "All over? How are you alive?" the student stammered. Julie chuckled. "Bears are bad, but there are far worse things on Earth than bears." "You must be lying," a voice said. Julie realized it was her instructor who had spoken. He was sitting, trembling with fear. Smiling, Julie advanced her presentation. 71% of my planet is covered in water," she explained. "And in that water are many creatures. Fish, crabs, seahorses, squids, and the like." The screen showed pleasant images of each creature. "We even have what we call seals," she added, looking at Dahat, an alien classmate who bore a striking resemblance to an anthropomorphic seal. Dahat beamed as he watched the seals play in the water. "We also have sharks," Julie continued. A great white shark suddenly appeared on the screen, chasing and biting a seal in a burst of red-tinged water. Dahat sat, wide-eyed, a silent scream on his lips. "Stop, stop, stop!" Instructor Sabal shouted. "But instructor," Julie protested, "I haven't even mentioned the vampire bats that rip flesh and drink blood, or the crocodiles, lions, snakes, scorpions, or spiders." "Enough!" the instructor bellowed, clutching his chest. Dahat stared at Julie in abject terror. "How has your people survived?" he asked. Julie calmly replied, "Because the deadliest creature on Earth is humans." With that, she walked back to her seat. As she passed her classmates, they shrank away from her in fear. During lunch, Julie sat alone, nibbling her sandwich without appetite. She almost cried, knowing her presentation had guaranteed her social isolation for the rest of her school days. Suddenly, a shadow fell over her. Looking up, she saw Dahat standing before her. "You're amazing," Dahat said seriously. "Have you ever seen a shark in real life?" he asked, sitting beside her. Surprised but pleased, Julie said, "Yes. My uncle and I caught one once, though it wasn't as big as the one in the presentation." "You caught one?" Dahat was impressed. Imagine catching such a beast. More shadows fell over her as other students joined in. "Can you tell me about those vampire bats?" "They sound terrifying," one asked, and another and another. Julie, all smiles, tried to answer all their questions, but there were too many. By the end of